What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Mikael, the Idea Shifter. Welcome to the Blue Room Podcast. I'm chopping it up. It's Mental Health Month. And man, I'm telling you, our mental health matters. And I'm going to get in here. Today's show is about what are wounds? What are wounds? Because we walk around, man, like it's nothing wrong with us. But all of us know that we are wounded. And like I start off every show, y'all know what I'm about to spit up in this mic. I bless this mic because I got something to say. And I rock headphones because I'm trying and I am listening twice as much as I talk. And I'm about to chop it up about wounds because wounds, this is something that not just men, but women walk around with, and we don't even recognize that we have them all the time. I'm telling y'all, wounds is something we have, and we walk around sometimes and we act like nothing is wrong with us, especially men. But if you are interested, men, in moving your life, and women, if you're interested in moving your life, subscribe to Move Your Life on YouTube. Move Your Life on YouTube, where I am creating space for men because I am challenging their thinking and I'm cultivating their spiritual and their emotional health and challenging them in all the areas that matter. That's money, that's mental health, that's marriage, that's faith, and that's family. Now, let me get into my topic because I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor and I do weekends for men. I help facilitate them with some of the most wonderful men and women that I have ever known. And I want to come to talk to you about wounds because wounds is a very sensitive subject because there's only two type of people who know they're wounded and people who don't know. There's not a person walking around who doesn't have any wounds. Now, whether you're aware of them or not sometimes determines your outcome in your life, okay? Because you can live your whole life not thinking anything is wrong with you. And if you don't know what your wound is, if you don't know how to detect your wound, if you don't know how to detect if you're wounded or how that wound is affecting your life, you're going to have a rough life. So let me get into this. What is a wound, people? What is a wound? A wound, I'm going to read this for you. An injury that causes living tissue by receiving, an injury that causes living tissue to be cut or to be affected by a blow or impact, and it causes the skin to be cut or broken. So, in the natural things or the natural realm, a wound is something that causes a cut. It's something that impacts you so much that it breaks your skin. It makes you bleed, right? It also can cause your skin to be broken or your internal organs to be broken or your bones to be broken. But let's take it out of the natural realm. A wound is something that makes an impact on you that breaks you. It's something that impacts you that causes you to be broken. Again, there's only two types of individuals that live. It's people that know they're wounded or people that don't know, meaning that all of us have been broken in some kind of way. All of us have been impacted by a tragedy. All of us has been impacted by maybe a divorce. All of us have been impacted by disappointment. All of us have been impacted by things in our lives that shake us to the core, that breaks the whole foundation of who we think we are, that shakes the whole foundation of what we thought our life was going to be. There are life changing events that happen. And what's funny about being wounded is the events that seem the smallest sometimes make the biggest impact because it's not what happens to you, it's the message you get from what happens to you that impacts your life and causes you to be broken in such a way that you don't know that it causes your functioning to become dysfunctional and malfunctional. I'm going to say that again. It causes us, our thinking and our behavior and our emotions to be dysfunctional and malfunctional. So, yes, you're functional, people. Men, you're functional, but may be malfunctional and you may be dysfunctional. You can be malfunctional or dysfunctional, but of course, you're functional. What you have to understand is Our job as a man, sometimes we're depressed because we're wounded. Sometimes our life doesn't go the way we want to because we're wounded. Sometimes we don't understand that life has inflicted blows upon us. It's impacted us in such a way that it twists our thinking and it changes our functioning to us being malfunctional or dysfunctional. And I want you to understand this because, man, we live our lives like we've never been broken, like nothing has ever happened to us, like we've never been disappointed, like we've never needed encouragement, like we've never needed a shoulder to cry on, like we've never needed a job, like we've never needed some money, like we've never needed attention, like we've never needed a woman, like we've never needed something. There are things that we need as men because life has impacted us and it's inflicted blows on us. But you know what? Some of us are just too ignorant to even know because we're just living our lives day to day. And we walk around with this pain. We're limping, we're suffering. But our attempt is to always cover it up because we're supposed to be strong. Surely we're supposed to know what we're doing. Now, when we talk about wounds in our lives, we're talking about things that have made an impact on us. Memories that you can't shake, feelings that you can't get rid of, disappointments that still affect you today, things that make you depressed, things that make you angry, things that make you scared, things that you have lost, something someone said to you. Your father told you you would never be anything. You got divorced and your wife emasculated you. You got yourself into situations where you made grave mistakes and you regret it. And these wounds, we are walking around with these wounds and we are trying to carry these weights and they are getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Now, I'm calling it wounds and not trauma because some people, they don't want to admit they've been traumatized. That's like a buzzword these days. You know what? You've undergone trauma. No, wounds and trauma are practically the same thing. But wounds impact you in such a way that they can redefine how you think. They redefine how you feel. They redefine how you function. They make you dysfunctional or they can make you malfunctional. Understand, man, we have to deal with these wounds because you know what? They hurt. You don't want to admit it, but a lot of us, we're broken. I'm not saying broken in a way where we need to be fixed, but I mean broken in a way where life has impacted us in such a way that it's making it hard to keep walking. It's making it hard to do the things we want to do. It's making it hard for us to be the fathers we want to be. It's making it hard for us to be the husbands we want to be. And what's even worse is sometimes it's affecting us because we don't even know it. We don't even know we're wounded. We don't even know why we're angry all the time. We don't even know why we give up so easy. We don't even know why we're so frustrated. We don't even know why we're hurting. Like, have you ever had a pain in your body, but you can't really localize the pain? You know you're just hurting. Or it's like when your back is itching and you can't get to the spot that's itching you, and no matter how you reach, you can't touch that spot. That's how wounds are sometimes. Sometimes it's hard for us to detect where the pain is. And if you can't detect where the pain is, for sure, you will not be able to detect where the pain comes from. Man, wounds are serious. Sometimes you got to stop and you got to say, I'm hurt. I don't even know why I'm hurt. I don't even know why I have so much pain. I don't even know why I have so much frustration. I don't even know why I have so much regret. I don't even know why I feel so lonely. I don't even know why I feel so depressed. But it's important, man, that you understand that we as men, we get in these places. We get in places where we feel trapped. We get in places, we can get in a room full of oxygen and still feel suffocated. We can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely. We can have a plate full of food and still feel hungry. We can have a glass full of water and still feel thirsty. We can have a woman paying attention to us, but we still feel like we don't have no value. We can have all the money in our pocket and still feel broke. We can have muscular bills and still feel fat, because that's what wounds do to you. Sometimes a wound can strip you of everything you have and everything you thought you were. I'm going to use a scripture in the Bible, the story of Goliath, David and Goliath. And a lot of people don't know that in the Bible, Goliath means to strip. And Goliath went out and he punked Israel for 40 days. And he said, you know what? I'm going to do this and that to you. I'm going to whoop everybody in Israel. He did that for 40 days, but people were scared to step up to him because Goliath was a giant. But the word Goliath, watch this, y'all. The word Goliath means to strip. It means to take from people, meaning Goliath means to strip. And the problems in your life look so big, and you think that those problems, they come to strip you. Your wound comes to strip you. Your wound comes to break you. Your wound comes to make you ashamed. Your wound comes to strip all your clothes off and expose your nakedness to everybody. And for men, we don't want to walk in shame. We don't want to be exposed. We don't want people to know that we're vulnerable. But Goliath came to strip Israel. And there are Goliaths in your life, man. There are wounds that are trying to strip you. If you want to be truthful as a man, you are broken. Every man has a part of them that is broken. Being a tough guy, you can be the tough guy all you want. You can be the tough guy all you want. You can be the guy that's invincible. You can be the guy that life can't penetrate. You can be the guy that life can't hurt. But I'm telling y'all, one day life will catch up with you. We have to know that Goliath comes to strip. But a little old boy named David came and he made sure that didn't happen. I'm telling y'all, wounds are serious, men. We need to pay attention to our wounds. We need to pay attention to how we feel. We need to know that we hurt. We need to admit that we hurt. We need to admit that we've been impacted. We need to admit that we have been broken. We need to admit that our hearts bleed. We need to admit that our self-esteem has been shaken. We need to admit that we feel empty. We need to admit that as men, even if we're not at the lowest point of our lives, there have been times that life has so rocked us, so hurt us, so tried to strip us, that we needed somebody to talk to, that we needed to be in the hands of God, and that we've turned to all types of other stuff to alleviate our pain, to bring soothing to our wounds. We've used women. Come on, y'all. We use women. We use weed. We use liquor. We use prescription drugs. We use money. We use work. We use the choir at church. We use the pulpit. We use being on the worship team. We use being entrepreneurs and psychologists and psychiatrists and medical doctors and lawyers and engineers. We use even positive things to cover up these wounds. But underneath it all is a man that needs to address his wounds. Because while you're overlooking your wounds, your life is in shambles. Your children don't want to be around you. Your wife doesn't want to be around you. Your relationships are malfunctional and dysfunctional because your wounds are going unaddressed. Your career is shaky because your wounds are going unaddressed. You have no consistency because your wounds are going unaddressed. You feel lonely because your wounds are going unaddressed. You feel dissatisfied with your life because your wounds are going unaddressed. You feel like you're lonely because your wounds are going unaddressed. You can't get your thinking right because your wounds are going unaddressed. You can't sleep at night because your wounds are going unaddressed. And even in your times of happiness, even in your times of success, sometimes you feel like the bottom is going to fall out because your wounds are going unaddressed. I've been there. A wound is an injury that causes living tissue to be cut because of a blow or an impact. It causes the skin to be broken. And that's the same thing a wound does to your heart. Things as men, we've had our heart broken. Whether you want to admit it or not, you've had that heart broken. Whether you want to admit it or not, you've had that heart pierced. And if you don't address that wound, your heart will bleed out on everything in your life. It's happened to me, man. Wounds are something that we can get healing for, not healing from. I'm going to say that again. A wound is something you can get some healing for, not a healing from. Understand something about wounds, man. Wounds are not things that God heals all the way, because if God heals a wound all the way, it ceases to be a testimony to you and it ceases to be a testimony to other people. Let me break this down for you. When Jesus resurrected, man, when he resurrected, Thomas doubted who God was. I promise you, he doubted who God was, but he said, Jesus, I'm paraphrasing, if you let me put my hand in your scar or your what? Wound, I will believe. Meaning that when Jesus resurrected from the dead, walked around the earth, and the scars, the wounds were still in his hand. The wound was still in his sides. He still had all the scars he was supposed to. The reason why he needed that wound is because Thomas had to put his hand in it. And if God closes your wound, if people can't see your wound, if people can't see your brokenness, they can't touch the part of you that will prove to them that God is real and that they can be healed. Meaning Jesus walked around with the wound, but he wasn't in pain. Jesus walked around with the wound, but he wasn't hurting. Jesus walked around in the wound, but he still had strength. Jesus walked around with a wound, and his wound was a testimony to everybody else that they could get up. God needs people to know that you can get up. But the problem with us is if you don't address your wound, when people touch them, they hurt too bad. Look, when people touch them, they hurt too bad. When people touch them, you get very angry. When people touch them, you get very afraid. When people touch them, you get very sad. Meaning that if your wound isn't healed, people can't put their hands in it because it still hurts you. Jesus, God, life wants you to know that you can be healed for something, but you can't be healed from something. You need to know that you are broken, and that brokenness will heal other people. Do you understand me, men? We have to get in touch with our wounds, because perhaps it is the only way that we can walk in our power, and this is the only way that people can discover theirs. Men, let's be honest about our wounds. Let's be honest about our wounds. Let people get close enough. The reason why we don't let people get close is because when they touch them, they hurt too bad. We don't want people to know that they're even there. Understand something, y'all. Those wounds are so important because those wounds allow other people, they allow other people to know that you made it and that they can make it. But first, we got to admit we have them. Those blows, those impacts, that cut skin, y'all, those injuries. I feel you, man. I've been there. I've been hurt. I've been emasculated. I've been thrown away. I've been tossed to the side, and I've been broken. But I had to come to grips, and I had to get healed for my wound, but I never really got healed from my wound. Because when my mouth doesn't speak, my wound does. And my life has changed and other people have changed because I decided to not only admit that I'm broken, but I also decided to be healed. And men, you can make that choice.